Every once in a while, folks, we luck into a true pro in the music world. And today, Dennis Scott, the lead singer for the Wannabeatles, has joined us. Welcome, Dennis.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Hello, everybody in Beatles land.
And, we're delighted to speak to you once again. You've got a performance at the Historic Masonic Theatre next Friday at 7 p.m.
Yeah.
And Dennis, one of the neat things about your show, it's not just your great music, it's the fact that the crowd interacts so positively with you. And I mean, that must be a hoot for you as not just the lead singer, but see all this crowd interaction that you normally have.
Oh yeah. We'd like to say after almost every show, guys, we're living the dream. I mean, look at what's going on. First of all, we're playing this great music by John, Paul, George, and Ringo. I mean, great hits, and we get to do it, for people who have fond memories of those days and of the group, big fans, and we get to meet them. It's really an exciting experience and almost spiritual in some way, because we walk away from there feeling good about life and good about ourselves. In fact, I tell people if I'm having a bad day, the best thing I can do is put on some Beatles music.
Well, how do you keep fresh when you do 75 gigs a year?
I
That's
go I go through a lot of deodorant to keep fresh. I really do. Yeah.
But when you do 75 gigs a year and you probably mix it up, that's a lot of music to learn. And I'm not so sure that I've ever asked you. We have to do a lot of practicing in our business. Don't you still have to? I mean, you do different songs, you do different renditions of the songs. How much practicing do you have to do after all these years?
We aim for practicing once a week. And because of everybody's schedules and vacations, etc., it doesn't always work out that way. So we end up maybe 2-3 times a month, and but we have to do that because you can get complacent. You can be doing the same song and then you start to forget to play some of the right parts, and so you have to do that. And we also enjoy learning some of the Beatles songs we haven't performed. And when I say learning, I mean we know them, but it's one thing to remember them from listening to a little transistor radio growing up, and now listening on high fidelity with the ability to separate parts in the recording and really hear all these minute things. In fact, we sometimes go above and beyond as to how far we want to capture. For example, our drummer has good hearing, and he'll say, "Hey guys, did you hear that part? That vocal? It's all the way up there. It's somebody's going woo!" And we say, "David, we don't hear that. I don't think it's the most prominent part of the song." But we'll end up spending 45 minutes going round in circles and until we get it right.
Here, there, and everywhere, man.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
And nowhere, man.
How in the world? I think people would be interested to know. You're a child actor initially. You started out as a child actor. How in the world did you think you could pull off an act as sophisticated as the Beatles? I mean, that's quite a step, isn't it?
Well, it was a journey. When I was, like you said, when I was 7 years old, I was on Broadway in one of Noel Coward's last musicals, and in fact, I even met Jacqueline Kennedy. She came to one of the shows when we were doing tryouts in Boston, and I made it into the newspapers because we were told Jackie Kennedy is going to come by and walk past the cast. And I told a couple of the kids, we were in the chorus together, I said, "I'm going to pretend to faint when she comes by us." And that's what I did. She walked by us and I just fell into my friend's arms. And the next day in the newspaper, it said, "Dennis Scott clowns a faint." And so me and Jackie Kennedy were in the same little paragraph. So, but I kind of walked around your question. Um, for me, it was it. I was doing that type of thing. I was doing commercials, and I was on some TV shows. Some of your listeners might remember shows like Route 66 and the Gary Moore Show, and
Sure.
I was even on a Sammy Davis Jr. special, which was an amazing experience to just think about being on the same stage as Sammy Davis Jr. is like, I'm just so lucky to have had those experiences. But at some point, I was growing up, and I became less adorable, and so I had to make a transition. I started gravitating more towards music and started taking some lessons. And I was always singing, but had to pick up the guitar. And at about that same time, when the Beatles came out, my older brother was already listening to the Beatles. He was playing guitar, and I followed my big brother's footsteps and found an appreciation of the Beatles, and actually played in my brother's band, which groomed me for eventually starting my own band.
Well, speaking of roles, recently you guys have really stepped up in another regard. You've really gotten a new handsome member named Quentin. What is this fella's role, and how's he all fit in?
We do, and for some of the folks out there who have seen the Wannabeatles at Clifton Forge at the theater, you must come out, because this new member of our group is truly remarkable. He, aside from the fact that he's younger than we are, and he gives us a little shot in the arm of energy wise, but he's multi-talented. He plays various instruments, and he's very adorable, more adorable than me, I'm sorry to say. And we have a moment in the show. I don't want to give it all away, but you will be just so surprised to hear and see some of the things he's going to do. I can only tell you that nowadays, when he does one of the songs, women are throwing dollar bills at him. They really are, and I'm standing on the stage saying, "What am I, chopped liver? Come on, But that's okay. He deserves all those accolades, and we're just proud to share him with you. So please do come. If you don't want to come see me, come see our new member Quentin. He's cute and he's talented.
Okay, and before we let you go, does Dennis Scott have a favorite song? No, all of us have many favorite Beatles songs, but you've made a living performing those songs, and after all these gigs and all these times, maybe even Dennis Scott has a favorite.
Yes, Dennis Scott is on the same page as Paul McCartney, who, when they ask him, what is your favorite song, he seems to gravitate towards that song you mentioned earlier, Here, There, and Everywhere. It's just such a pretty melody, and it's just gorgeous. I mean, I could say I love Long and Winding Road. That's a great song too. Don't get me started. We'll be here all day. But I'm the guy who has to put together the set lists, and I think you and I talked about this the other day off mic. How do you choose between all these great Beatles songs when you've got only an hour and a half to put on a show? So I have to sit there and say, okay, oops, are you okay?
Yeah, we're fine. We're
How
fine.
about that? Living dangerously.
Yeah.
So I'm, like I said, I'm the guy who has to decide which Beatles song I have to leave out of the repertoire for tonight's show. And I try to change it up so that it's fun for us and fun for the audience too. I might also mention, if with your kind permission, that we will be doing some non-Beatles songs during the show. We have put together a medley. We're putting together medleys all the time, so we might have to change our name to the Medley Kings or something like that. But if you come on down, we'll be playing a medley of songs from 1967, maybe even 1969, that are hits by groups other than the Beatles. I mean, big hits that everybody will recognize and songs that people love. And I like to think it adds a little variety to the Beatles show, because there's always one person in the audience who maybe gets dragged there and says, well, I wish they'd play a Rolling Stones songs. Well, we might. But we'll definitely do
Well,
some
the
other
crowd,
things like that.
well, the crowd is really looking forward to seeing you once again. It's going to be Friday at the Historic Masonic Theatre at 7 p.m. And we look forward to seeing that smiling face once again.
Well, we love Clifton Forge. We always look forward to our shows there. Your theater is such a jewel. What a magnificent theater, and the history behind it. It's exciting to walk onto that stage and think of all the great artists that came by during the days of vaudeville and things like that. It's just we want to honor that. So we're going to give you the best show possible. Please come down. We miss you.
Once again, we look forward to seeing you again, buddy.
Thanks, Jerry. What a pleasure. Appreciate it.
Bye now.